Hard work pays off and dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. You heard? Whenever you hear that MVP chant, you already know what's the deal. It's the most valuable podcast in the world. We talking about the Hitmen podcast, live in full effect. I feel like Daddy Rich in here this week. I got my D-Town players. I feel like I got Isaiah and Joe Dumars in here, MG and Justin from BlitzSportsNetwork.com. Fellas, what's the word? How y'all feeling, man?
What's good, bro? You already know we tapping back in.
Yes, sir, Ski. Appreciate you popping up one more time. Justin, what's going on, Brody?
Hey, not much, man. Good to be on with you guys finally.
I feel like I robbed the bank and got away with it. I've been trying to track him down for a minute. MG, I told you right when March Madness came, we had to have the God on the show, right?
Yeah. Throw the bat signal up, bro. You know.
Yeah, man. He gonna have to quarterback and carry us through this one.
Straight up.
But we in good hands this week, man. How was y'all weekend? Everything was good?
Oh yeah, can't complain. Weather finally getting nice.
Yeah, survived the last winter, it looks like, in Michigan. Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel your pain, bro. I'm exhausted.
Holiday, bro.
I was out of town. I was on a nine-day stretch. I went from the ACC tournament. Shout out to the folks at ACC. They took care of my TV crew. Then we had to turn around and do the Nets game, Nets and Knicks. And then last night I was in the building for the Jokic and Embiid matchup in Philly. Just got back home this morning. I hopped in my casket and tried to get some sleep before I jumped on with y'all. So I appreciate y'all tapping in with me, bro. But I'm on fumes. But we're going to rock out this week. You feel me?
You already know.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get started with the show, we want to let y'all know that we everywhere that podcast live. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of that. Hit us up in the mailbag, the Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com. Check us out on the YouTube. That's where the videos are going to be housed. Y'all can check us out on the socials. It's at Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known, at Virtuoso Sport. Justin, you're not a big social dude, bro. You don't got like Instagram, Twitter, nothing like that.
You can hit me up on Discord, with the rest of the Blitz teamers.
Straight up and down. Make sure y'all tap in, rate, review, and subscribe. Get down with BlitzSportsNetwork.com. We got a ton to talk about, man. I don't really want to waste any time. Let's get off into it. Where y'all want to go first? NFL, NBA, NCAA. Justin, you the guest of the hour. So how you want to take it? Where you want to go first?
Oh, whichever way, man. It's your show. Whichever way you want to go.
I think I want to hop off into the NCAAs before we get off into the pros. March Madness is officially underway. You know what I'm saying? We had Selection Sunday. What's today? Tuesday. Recording Tuesday night. So we had it the other night, Sunday night. I guess you could call this essentially the play-in games today, but the real tournament starts tomorrow. Everybody pretty much has eyes on the number ones being Gonzaga. Remind me who the other number ones are. I think Duke is a number 2, no? Arizona,
Kansas, and Baylor.
And Baylor, right. So all eyes are on right now Gonzaga and Chet Holmgren. Everybody's popular number 1 pick at this point. That's up for debate, but ton of teams, ton of talent out there. Justin, what was your takeaway from these past weekend with the championship tournaments all over the country, bro?
Oh, the big thing was the ACC, I guess. Vodtech catching fire and
yeah,
man. Gauntlet, beating Carolina, beating Duke, eliminating Coach K on his final game in the ACC tournament.
Poetic justice.
Yeah, so I mean they're playing that great at the right time, Vodtech. I'm trying to think of. I think the run they've been on been ridiculous. I think they won 13 of the last 15 games, and those were all against ACC opponents. So wasn't against like some cupcake out of conference schedule. And that guard Hunter Couture heated up from 3 at the right time.
Yeah,
so
he was going bananas, bro. The building was kind of deflated. Obviously because everybody that was there. I guess New Jersey has a huge Duke following. They're kind of a huge recruiting pool for student body. So their fans, they pretty much had a second home in Jersey coming over to Barclays for the ACC tournament. But Virginia Tech pretty much gave them a paintbrush and spanked them. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was exciting to watch. Even with Miami, they had some pretty exciting games that go ahead lay up at the buzzer to win the game. Obviously, Virginia Tech did their thing. Like you said, beating Carolina, beating Duke on their way to becoming ACC champs. And essentially, like their spot to get into the tournament was on the line, and they showed up.
Yep.
They rose to the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it was a huge win because I don't think if they didn't get the automatic bid, I don't think they were getting in.
Yeah. One of the other teams that I had a chance to catch while we were at SEC, I was keeping an eye on the SEC tournament. Buzz Williams and the Aggies, man, they had a pretty decent run too. They made it exciting out there in Tampa. I don't know how much of it you caught, but I think it ended up coming down to Kentucky and Tennessee. Tennessee ended up winning the tournament, right?
Yeah. I didn't catch the Texas A&M game, but I'm really impressed with Kentucky. I think they're really sliding under the radar this year.
Yeah.
As a number 2, I mean, how far, really under the radar, but nobody's really been talking about them. I really like that team, that Oscar Tshiebwe, their 6'9" forward. The kid's averaging 17 and 15.
Potential player of the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got 24 double-doubles. He's the first player to end the NCAA season with averaging 15 points and 15 rebounds at least since 1980.
Huh.
So this is a kid that you can just ride to the final. I mean, he's just massive. He's a load to be under the boards, and he's kind of like a mini Charles Barkley. Well, he's taller than Barkley, but like a college version of Charles Barkley. I'm not saying he's going to be in the NBA, but he's a load. He's going to be a tough handle for teams, especially when they call tighter fouls in the NCAA tournament like they do. He's going to get guys in foul trouble.
Yeah. I agree. I didn't get to see Pac-12. I didn't get to see Big Ten. Who ended up winning the Big Ten tournament, by the way?
Iowa.
Iowa ended up coming out with it.
Yeah.
I caught the Illinois game when Tim Frazier had that mental meltdown. Threw the pass out of bounds. They had a chance to tie the game up or potentially win it. And they were the number one seed, and they lost their first round.
Yeah, they lost to Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the game we should have been playing in, but Michigan lost to Indiana. So.
Yeah, they had lost earlier in the day. But they ended up getting in. I don't remember what seed they are for the tournament, but
I think there were 4. Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois is the number 4. Bruce used to make fun of him. Shout out to Bruce Blitz. He used to make fun of Kobe Cochran, Coburn. But I don't know, man. I don't really know what to make of the Big Ten tournament or even with their with the seedings. And like I said, I didn't get a chance to see much of the Pac-12 stuff, so I don't know how UCLA fared. I don't know how USC fared, but I'm sure they're going to get pretty decent seeds or pretty decent games coming out in the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I like UCLA to make a run just because they got all the experience coming back from their Final Four team last year. They got all their guys back. Piker Williams, Jaquez, and what's the other kid's name? Johnny Juzang. He's their star. So they got you can't get rid of that experience. I mean, that's very valuable in the tournament when you got all those guys coming back. They've been through it. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get back to the Elite Eight at least.
MG, you got your bracket situated, bro. Who you think is going to be in the Final Four, man?
My homer pick is Michigan, but
to this day,
I got to homer it up, man.
Straight up.
And on top of that, we got Ohio State on the same side of the bracket as us. So,
no way you lying. For real?
It's like what is it? 30? The round of 32? Is it, or is it the round of 16?
They're gonna lose the sister jeans, man.
I don't need them to. I need them to win that game. I don't care what happens before we play them. I just want to beat them in the tournament. Like that's the next closest thing to bragging rights in basketball you can get next to beating them in the championship game. So like, I just want to knock them out of the tournament.
they still have to live down when we beat them in the Final Four in '92 with the Fab Five.
Exactly. Shout out to Jim Jackson.
Does it mean more to y'all to beat them in basketball or football? Just about
football.
Football, yeah.
For sure. All right,
but it's like a universal hate though. Like I despise all Ohio State teams. So it's like,
damn.
Football's the most important, but like all of them get equal amounts of hate. Even the down to the mathletes team.
So you say you got Michigan in. Who else you got?
I mean, which I really like that Arizona team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that team is gonna be hard to knock out of there. I probably would go. Final four. I don't want to pick Duke.
No Baylor, no Kansas.
I'm rocking with Baylor. And Zona. You know what? Actually, because what region is Michigan in? I gotta make sure. No, we ain't going with Zona then. We're going with Michigan because they in the South together.
Right.
I gotta homer it up. You know what? I'm gonna go with my underdog. I like that Providence team.
Yeah, they're nice.
I've caught a few games of them this year. I like that Providence team.
They're nice too. The coach, I will say this though, the coach was on TV basically doing all the politicking he could for a job. You saw him selling himself on. He's like, man, what better network to be on than Fox? I'm like, oh my god.
He should be national coach of the year at Cooley.
You say he should be coach of the year?
Yeah, at Cooley. Yeah, for Providence. Yeah, he should be coach.
I've caught them, and then I'm a rock with Texas Tech and Baylor.
Nice, decent. Buzz Williams, Justin, who you looking at for the Final Four? Don't ask me. I'm going all chalk. I want to be right. Baylor, Kansas, Gonzaga, Arizona, whatever.
I really like Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
We know Bill Self always lays an egg every he makes a run every 5 years, but that Agbaji kid, the 6'5" guard, one of my favorite players to watch in college basketball. He's another kid that could do a Carmelo carry a team.
Yeah.
He's averaging just below 20 a game. He's hitting 40% from three. Can slash, get to the rim. Really good defender as well. So and Jalen Wilson, his partner's actually playing really well right now. Good perimeter defender too. He's good on the block. 6'8" kid. So you can't double Agbaji by himself. So I like that squad. Like I said, I like Kentucky a lot. I don't like Gonzaga. I always bring this up. I brought this up last year on the podcast, but since 2001, the Zags record in the tournament is 1-12 versus a 3 seed or higher. So we're going back 20 years, and that's the record against higher seeds. So, I don't see them making a run unless they get a cupcake schedule. There's a lot of upsets, but eventually they're going to have to play somebody that's a 1 or a 2 seed, and they always seem to fold.
Right, got you, man. Y'all filling out brackets? You trying to win $1 million off a $5 holla? Y'all doing that this year? Y'all got a pool? What's going on?
Oh yeah, the ESPN one, yeah.
Yeah, every year. You already know. You got to take a shot. You never know.
Trying to win a car, or what is it?
Whatever they giving away.
I'm starting to wade into the waters of it. I just feel like it's so many teams. It just seemed overwhelming in the past, but I'm trying to get caught up with you brothers. So maybe next year I'll be able to give y'all a little bit more insight. I paid attention to as much as I could. It's just so much, man. I don't know how y'all
got to look
it.
at the 6-11 matchup, bro. That's where the upsets come from. The 6-11 matchup.
That's what everybody's been saying. That's what I've been checking out.
Big upset team to watch is Vermont.
I haven't caught many of them.
Yeah, they're really good. They got a lot of veteran leadership. They're 28-5 this year.
Which one of the Dakotas is good? Is it North Dakota State or is it
South Dakota State?
South Dakota State, yeah.
They haven't lost since December 15th.
Shit.
They're averaging just under 90 points per game too. They can score. That's going to be a tough out.
Have you seen any of them? Have you seen much of them at all?
I saw a couple games. I forget their opponents. I watched a couple of their tournament games, but yeah, I mean, just a high-scoring team. I can't name any of their players, bro. Sorry.
No. I got you. The reason I'm asking is because for 90 points a game, I haven't seen them on TV at all. But I was asking, have you seen them? What type of offense do they run? Is it just all threes? Is it a pro style? How are they getting these points?
Yeah, just they play a lot of transition. They're good shooters.
Got you.
From what I saw. I think they got. I don't know how big their center is. It seems like they can play 5 out. Yeah, but just high scoring offense. I mean, I don't know level of competition how it's going to show up, but they look pretty dangerous. And no matter what level of competition, when you haven't lost in 3 months,
Yeah, that's crazy confidence, bro.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna keep an eye out on Auburn and Purdue.
I didn't like the way they went out. I didn't like the way they went out. I did like.
I don't either.
I did like Jabari's reaction. He was pissed. He was pissed going through the hallway because he knew like there's no way we should have lost this game. So I feel like he's gonna be motivated, but I don't like the way that they went out.
They
got caught in their heels in that tournament.
Yeah. And the only reason I pick them is because they have. When you talk about Jabari with Auburn, and then you talk about Jaden Ivey with Purdue, those are two players who could literally carry a team to a real deep run in a tournament, and with those being two of the better players and probably two of the best 5 players in the country,
for sure.
Those are guys that can, and both of them are probably going to be top 3, 4 picks in the draft. I mean, both of those guys have the potential to carry a team to a deep tournament run. You never know with some of those guys if they could just catch fire, like the Kemba Walker years, where guys just kind of get it going. So,
last question for y'all before we get into the pros. You talked about top draft picks. One of the preseason, I guess, top picks was Paolo Banchero from Duke.
Yeah.
That's why I said. That's why I said past tense. That's why I said past tense. He almost essentially let Wendell Moore kind of steal his fire, but they lost their Coach K's last regular season game to Carolina. They lost in the ACC tournament final against Vatech. This is not really the swan song that Coach K probably was looking for. Give me you guys' perspective on where Duke is gonna finish in the tournament, and give me your prospects for Paolo after this.
Well, I think they want that Tom Izzo, Mike Krzyzewski square off in round 2.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I really think Davidson's going to beat Michigan State in the first round. They're really dangerous, high scoring.
Yeah.
Michigan State just cannot. Their backcourt is horrible. It's just really bad. They can't score in the half court. This kid, the South Korean kid, Hyujin Lee, I think, he's 6'7" from Davidson. He's one of the best shooters in the country.
Yeah, I saw one of his games. He was going bananas.
Yeah, and then they got their point guard. Davidson's point guard actually used to play for Michigan State, Foster Lawyer. And he's quarterback of that Davidson offense. Looked like they should have kept him at Michigan State. They were quick to get rid of him, and they can't get a point guard. So, I like that. I think that they're going to spoil that matchup. And, Duke will probably beat Davidson. But, Duke's going to get all the calls. So people better be prepared because they want to send them out with the championship. But I really don't like their guard play. Duke
exactly. It's super inconsistent, man.
Yeah, and you got their 3 leading scorers, I believe, are all freshmen because you got Banchero, Keels, and what's the big center's name, the 7-footer?
Oh, damn, I forgot.
They're all freshmen, so that doesn't really bode well for the tournament.
Yeah,
Williams, I believe. I think.
Yeah, Williams, and then Wendell Moore, he's a senior, so.
Yeah. They're gonna have not only that, they have a hard time defending. And that's kind of been their that, and as well as like closing games out have been their kind of weaknesses, especially lately. So I'm with Justin in terms of they're probably going to make it past Davidson in the second round. I don't think State's beating Davidson either. They're definitely going to get all the calls, but I think they'll probably get upset after they beat Davidson. I think it's going to be a short turning run.
Gotcha. So no Sweet 16.
Yeah, I like Keels though. He's got a lot of potential, and I mean, obviously, I've been as a Duke hater. I've been waxing poetic about Banchero for months at this point. Yeah. But I think he's one of those. I think he's going to be one of those guys that's a better pro than college player.
I want to see a better motor. I'm not seeing a lot of going and getting a win. I'm seeing a lot of him kind of running out of gas towards the end of games. And that's not, I mean, that's kind of like by design. You just said it. Like, he's pretty much having to do a lot at the end of games to keep them in games when he really shouldn't be. Like, they should have lost to Miami and didn't. and then they ended up losing to VTech in the tournament final.
Yeah, it's just a style of play. Like college basketball, teams do a way better job of playing defense in general. Especially when we're talking about the effort, when you're talking about floor spacing, players having their arms up, kind of cutting off driving lanes, and it's just not as open of a game as the NBA is, and it's more physical than the NBA is. So I think like when you look at Paolo's skill set in terms of being 6'10", kind of having that weird mixture, like it's almost like if Carlos Boozer had John Collins' body, like if that makes sense. Like there's a little bit of Elton Brand mixed in there too, of course.
That's a very good comp for sure, Elton Brand.
But he's not as much of a big man as Brand was, but I mean he's got that nasty little jab step. Out of that triple threat, that little triple threat fake, it's filthy, and he can post up. I just think with the game being way more wide open and less physical in the NBA, that's the dude I would look to drop 20 a night once he makes it to the pros.
Yeah,
off rip.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him do some work over the summer and getting ready for the pros. But I just want to drop perspective. Let's get off into the pros real quick, man. Like I said, I had back-to-back games between Brooklyn and Philly. The talk of, word around the campfire has been, the story has been the Nets, right? And Philly. They had the big showdown last Thursday. The Nets came in and held court. They paintbrushed the Sixers. KD's been very vocal over the past couple of days. He basically called out the Sixers and said they don't know how to run. They can't get back on defense. So we can do whatever the hell we want to do. Fast forward, right, over the weekend. And even tonight, we saw Kyrie. He was kind of the story. When they played the Knicks on Sunday, Kyrie was not allowed to play at home. He still attended the game without a mask. The reaction that he got, it was damn near a standing ovation, if you could believe it, when he walked into the building. But then KD went bananas. He gave him a 50 burger, got into his press conference, and called out the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, saying that, it doesn't make sense that this guy can't play. But it's okay, because Kyrie responded tonight when the Nets played the Magic, and he gave them a 60-piece, right? So my question to you fellas is, right now, like even with them having two of the maybe top 15 players in the league, they're on their way to a solid play-in berth, not even a play-off berth. If the Nets have these two clicking on all cylinders, what is the ceiling for Brooklyn's 2022 playoff campaign as far as you guys are concerned?
Conference finals.
The East Finals?
Yeah. There's a reason why you've only had 1 8 seed make it to the finals in the 99 Knicks. It's just too difficult to have to go on the road and play that many big games on the road.
Yeah.
And coming from an 8 seed, I mean, and not only that, but they're the 9 seed?
Right now they are, yeah.
So I mean, they would have to play 2 play-in games to even get in.
Yeah, they would have to win.
And then off the rip, you would get Miami. And then second round, you get Boston or Chicago. And then conference finals, you get Philly or Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, right.
All without home court advantage. And I always say this because the concept of parity in basketball is a fallacy. It's,
at the moment, they're the 8th seed at 36 and 33 after they win.
Oh, yeah. Charlotte and Atlanta. Yeah.
Charlotte and Atlanta, 9 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, parity in the NBA is a fallacy. There's a reason why, like, 85+% of teams who've won championships are the 1 or the 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, 15% is the 3 seed, and then everybody else kind of falls in that 1% range.
Gotcha.
Like, the lowest seed that's ever won was the Rockets in the 90s at 6?
Yep.
So it's just too tall a task to ask. And then, the teams that are higher up, they typically have a lot of things in common, right? They take care of home court advantage. They've stayed fairly healthy. They have continuity, not many big time injuries, so they've been able to kind of have that team chemistry throughout the entire season. The Nets are all over the place. I mean, they literally just got rid of a big piece, and then on top of that, Kyrie's only been here half of the year. KD's been hurt. new pieces on the team. It's a lot going. There's a lot of moving things going on with the Nets.
Couple more weeks left in the regular season, and if the mandates stay the same in New York City when they begin the playoff run, Kyrie's not going to be available for those home games. So, like you said, if they're the lower seed, say they end up as the 9 or the 10 seed, right? They're going to have to. I guess when you think about it, you almost want to be the lower seed. So if they're a road team, then Kyrie can play. If they're one of the higher seeds hosting the play-in game or play-off game, Kyrie's not available, right?
Yeah, but then because Kyrie's not available, you lose home court advantage. You automatically give up home court advantage anyways because you don't have him for your home game. So it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, you might have him on the road, but it's still a road game at the same time. So
yeah,
it's just tough, like to come from that low of a seed. I mean, in all the year, talking about 75 years.
And we're talking about say what you will about them being top players, but KD and Kyrie have injury history, and the playoffs get crazy. Justin, they get real sticky, they get real physical, and either one of those guys can go down at any given point. Andre Drummond is also one who's kind of been injury prone in the past. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's getting Brook Lopez back. Yep. The Bulls just got Caruso to kind of boost their defense. On the back
Lonzo
end.
and Pat Williams should be back soon.
Cleveland, they lost Jared Allen, but they say he might be back right on time for the playoffs. And then
that sucks for them.
Miami's still number 1 in the hood with a bullet, but Jimmy Butler he got ejected tonight. Was he ejected or he got injured?
At this point, who knows? Jimmy Butler misses so many games at this point. It's always something with him. Like the other day, he had a stuffy nose. Then it was the ankle. Like it's always something with Jimmy.
But the number 1 with Bam potentially being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Said all that being said, it's gonna be tough for the Nets because they're gonna have to have a longer run with the play-in to try to make it all the way through to the end of the line. Giannis is playing out of his fucking mind again. I had a chance to talk. Not a chance. I had the opportunity. I don't even know what to call it, but I was able to sit and talk with Hubie Brown yesterday for a little bit. Legendary coach, man. And he was just going bananas about Giannis. Giannis, the 6th player in NBA history to record at least 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists in 3 straight games. Only other players to do that are Kareem, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Pettit, and Oscar Robertson. So what does that tell you? Like he's locking in, and it's become a habitual thing for him these past few postseasons. I feel like he knows, all right, that championship DNA is starting to kick in. So he's starting to turn it on. Like I just said, Brook Lopez is coming back, who's probably the only real shot blocker on that team. Bobby Portis is more of a offensive guy at this point. But that's going to be huge for spelling Giannis from having to do so much on both ends of the floor, and that puts them in a much better position to get back to the finals, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the thing with Miami and Milwaukee, they're high motor teams.
They're high motor teams.
Like, when you go through and look at the rest of the conference, regardless of talent, the 2 teams sitting at the top are high motor teams on top of the talent.
Yeah,
and that's a buzzsaw waiting to happen.
I started this segment. I want to get Justin in here. I started this segment talking about 2 teams. We talked a little bit about the Nets, but the other team that was making noise over the weekend was Philly, right? They just lost last night. The big hype matchup between Jokic from Denver and Embiid from the Sixers, right? They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, and these are against you can't really call it. They lost to the Nets. They turned around and lost to the Orlando Magic in overtime, and then that's the same team that Kyrie put 60 up on tonight, and then they lost to Jokic on a clutch shot at the end of the game last night. So this is not really the best time to be trying to quote unquote figure things out when you got an MVP, a former MVP in James Harden, a potential MVP in Embiid right now. I feel like they took their eye off the ball. They made all of the hype about Ben Simmons coming back in town when they really should have just been keeping eyes on being efficient. Justin, what's your observation for the Sixers going into the playoffs?
I don't really like the Sixers.
That's cool. That's why I got you on the show, baby. You feel me?
This guy's infesting college basketball. It's getting worse. People are starting to play like him. this is the first year I've really noticed it, that people are emulating his game and just drawing cheap fouls.
Yeah, shooting for free throws instead of shooting the score.
Exactly, and doing the step back travel 3 and all that. I like Embiid though. I don't have anything negative to say about Embiid, but when James Harden lights it up in the playoffs and leads a team, I mean, he might not have to lead the team, Embiid will, but he disappears. We'll see. I don't like him. Like you guys were just talking about, it's hard to go against Giannis at this point.
They're a 3 seed right now. If the season ended today, they'd be playing Cleveland in the first round. That's Darius Garland. That's Evan Mobley. Jared Allen when he comes back. So that's a tough draw for the first round. Especially when KD already put it out there, like we're gonna give y'all the blueprint about how to beat the Sixers. And then Doc Rivers has some fingerprints on him in terms of blowing leads in playoff games, blowing game 7s. You got the keys to all the doors at this point. You got all the tools that you needed. I don't understand what's happening. It was hard to even watch the game last night because Jokic is still kind of doing things on his own. No Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter, and
Will Barton had been out.
Will Barton was in and out. It's really Jokic and AG, Aaron Gordon, and they got a little production from Boogie, but how long is that gonna last? You know?
Yeah. I mean, Philly's got, 3 main issues. Obviously, effort is a big issue. I mean, KD calling him out on transition. Not just that, but the Harden effort issue. It's not going anywhere in terms of defensively. Secondly, we talked about this before the show started. They lost all their depth when they made that trade.
No bench at all.
Seth Curry would have been a no-go for me. That y'all could have had Andre Drummond. Y'all could have had George Niang, but y'all can't have statistically one of the most efficient 3-point shooters of all time. Nah, a Curry brother. Nah, y'all can't have him. And then third of all, play style. Like James Harden and Joel Embiid play the same style. One's just a guard, one's just a big, and James Harden refuses to play off ball.
Gotcha.
And that just freezes up the offense when your 2 best players are only iso ball.
I got a couple more before we get off into the NFL. Bams. Listen, bro. I know you don't rock with him. I'm sorry, but
here we go. Here we go.
Bro, how can you not bang with KG, bro?
Look, man, this is a long-standing beef I got with him. He don't know it, but it's a beef.
Yo, KG is probably one of my favorite players of all time, man. Like, had his jersey
Chicago.
retired
You're a Chicagoan, of course he is.
I mean, but still, just regardless, bro. Like, I guess like it's kind of a flippant statement now, but when I talk about like dogs in the NBA in terms of who you might need on your team, it's like you need a Rasheed, right? That's the statement. Like, you need a Rasheed, you need a Ben Wallace, you need a Udonis Haslem, you need a KG.
Nah, the first 3 guys you named, I would pick in a fight.
Let's go to the clip real quick. This is KG, man.
Suit up, boy. I might come out here and woo.
I know I gotta bring my A game here.
Hey, listen, man. I knew y'all fuck with me, but I ain't know y'all fuck with me like this.
That's live. That was live in Boston, bro. How can you not bang with that, bro?
Such a bad role model. There's kids in the audience.
Come on, dog. That was hard. That was hard.
Man, my beef with Kevin Garnett goes back to like 2000 at this point. So like, I'll never like him.
Got his jersey retired. He was really gracious. A couple takeaways from the ceremony after the Celtics game. He shouted out Danny Ainge, right, who's no longer with the team. He shouted out Jason Tatum. We've been back and forth about whether or not he and Jalen can stay together long term and bring a championship. But the biggest thing was he shouted out Ray Allen, and I thought that was dope. I think that was something that the NBA needed to see. Paul Pierce kind of fucked it up coming out there.
I seen somebody say Rondo was sitting up in the stands with the Arthur fist somewhere.
He was on the road. That's wild. But yeah, man, that was good to see Ray Allen. They said that they chopped it up at All-Star and kind of got together and buried the hatchet and made peace and broke bread.
KG gave him "I want to fight you" look when he walked by. He walked straight to LeBron. He ain't even look at KG. KG looked at that man like he was ready to fight.
That's crazy though to have his jersey in the rafters in Boston when really like I associate him more with Minnesota, right? Outside of getting a ring, he played 2 finals, right, in Boston, but a lot of his success and rise to being a star was in Minnesota, right? Playing tremendous defense. He got his MVP in that 04
Wait a minute.
season.
What jersey did he wear in Boston?
5.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what number you wore in Boston. Stop fucking hating, man.
Look, man.
Where was he at on the court? What position did he play? What number was it?
I'm just saying, Jason Tatum know what's up. He decided to shoot 7 of 23 tonight. KG was in town. Jason Tatum know what's up.
Yeah, man. I don't really know what to make of that one, but yeah,
I'm
bro.
a Laker fan. I'm gonna hate everything Boston.
I'm not too far from that.
Except Larry Bird. Larry Bird's the only thing about the Celtics I don't hate.
What do y'all think about Boston though right now? I mean, despite the other night, Jason Tatum has really stepped it up. He's shooting. I think he's right around 40% from 3 over the past 20 games. I think this is who he's going to be, at least for right now. I don't really know if it's just he's feeling like he has the green light. If Ike just told him, like, go out there and do your thing. But the Celtics are kind of looking good, too, and nobody's really talking about them.
Defensively, they have looked amazing the last, month or two.
Yeah,
they are getting after it.
They're getting to it. Yeah,
DJ. Yeah, they are getting after it defensively. And then offensively, Tatum is just, and this is one of my problems with Tatum. You know, he kind of shies away from physical contact. Like, he acts like he's not 6'8".
Unfortunately.
But
yeah.
Over this stretch, he's been playing more like he's 6'8", like especially that game against the Nets where he was giving KD to work.
Yeah, he's giving him the
man. So and this is the problem with Jason Tatum. You know, he falls in love with the deep jumper too much, and he doesn't use his size to his advantage, and he just settles for he's not a great jump shooter. And I think people need to realize that he's not a great jump shooter. He'll have his nights where he catches fire, but he just keeps shooting them. Like, even though he can get to the basket almost at will. And he's been busting out some new moves. Like, you go back and you go watch that Nets game again where he was giving them the work. Jason Tatum was doing some ball handling stuff we ain't seen him do before.
We've been talking about it all season, man. He doesn't play enough cup game, right? That's how Dwayne Wade got to where he was. He doesn't draw enough contact, like you said, because the predisposed notion is he doesn't like physicality. And
even just the mid-post game, if he can, give me a couple, back to the basket possessions, 16 feet out, try to do some work from there. Just something, because when a jump shot not falling, which is not most nights if you just watch him play, just stop. Like, I mean, Jaylen Brown's got the same issue, but with 3-pointers. Jaylen Brown will be 1 for 9 for 3, and he'll still keep shooting 10 more.
5 seed right now. If the season ended, they be playing my Bulls. They're half a game behind them for the 4 seed. So that's big in terms of home court advantage. I don't really like that match. I really don't want that matchup. I'm not scared of Al Horford. I'm really scared of the young boys, Grant and Robert Williams, in the post, because Vucevic has been a super duper hyper liability when it comes to that end of the floor there. And I must sound crazy, but even with DeMar DeRozan having an MVP season, bro, I just don't trust it. Like, he's going bananas with a 30-point game after 30-point game, but playoffs are different. And DeMar DeRozan has been DeMar DeRozan for his whole career. This is the first time I've seen him lock in. And most players beyond 30 don't really go up in scoring like that. They don't really take it to that level. Their game kind of trends down. So I don't really know what to make of it, but I really don't. If I were anybody, that's the one team I wouldn't want to play right now is the Celtics. And before that, it would have been Cleveland before Jared Allen got hurt.
I'm on the opposite end of you.
You want to play them. You want to play Boston.
I wouldn't want to. Oh, shit. I wouldn't. And the number one reason is yes, DeRozan has been the best player during the regular season, but my gut has been telling me all year that Zach LaVine's gonna be something different in the playoffs.
Mm.
You just know
I
the
hope
type
so.
of work he put in and
I
the type
hope
of
so.
competitor he is. And if anybody on the floor can go toe to toe with Tatum, it's gonna be Zach LaVine.
Good point.
And
Good point.
and if you're
I like
expecting the up and down DeRozan that we're accustomed to, I mean Jaylen Brown's up and down as well, so you still kind of break even there. And then you still got guys off the bench. I mean, as long as Patrick Williams, and Lonzo can come back, and you guys can stay fairly healthy out there in the perimeter, I like your bench mob. Like that bench mob of Caruso, and when they pair him with Lonzo Ball, like before they both start getting hurt, that was a game changer. I was saying earlier in the season when y'all were struggling in the third quarter, they need to open up the third quarter with Lonzo and Caruso because the fans love them. And when they're on the floor together, there's just some energy in the air, and they get after it defensively. They throwing lobs to each other like that. That to me is the dynamic duo of the team in the sense of this is gonna get the crowd going, this is gonna get the team going type of move. So
I mean, we got a ton of athletes. You got Io, you got Derrick Jones Jr.
Yes, and I like Io.
So they can. I mean, so we can run. Like I don't really know what Devontae Green's role is gonna be going forward, especially if Patrick Williams comes back sooner than later. But I'm more worried about the post, bro. Like in the playoffs, the game slows down. Giannis, Embiid, fucking Durant, even like Drummond.
Once you get past there, yeah.
I'm worried about the post, bro.
I don't like Boston in the half court. Yeah, you got the lob to Williams, obviously, but it's not like Boston moves the ball great, and it's not like they have two guys that kind of work within the system. They kind of just Jalen and Jason just kind of go out there and just go and try to get there.
I think their weakness is going to be Smart. Smart's not consistent on offense, and so if I'm a Zach LaVine, if I'm an Io, or even Alonzo, if we can get him back, I'm gonna take advantage of that and try to keep the ball away from, the left side of the court, because that's where they like to kind of get off in the transition. Like you said, you don't like the Celtics in the half court set, but
and you got multiple defenders to throw at them, like at Jason Tatum, Caruso, Lonzo, Patrick Williams. You can throw Zach LaVine on them. Zach LaVine will play defense if he's kind of just in the mood to, which he will. Go watch him in the Olympics. That boy was clamping up in the Olympics. I was like, oh, we need this in the league. But
you see, don't forget LeBron gamed him in the All-Star though.
Yeah,
he gamed him. He let that
and you got the Derrick Jones, like y'all, you got some guys that you can throw out there at Tatum and give him different looks all series long.
Word.
So I like that advantage for you guys. So I think that's a good matchup. Cleveland would be the team I wouldn't want to see if Jared Allen was there, just because of Cleveland's length and athleticism.
Exactly.
That's just yeah. But Boston only has one big. Well, I don't count Al Horford, but so it's a better matchup in terms of interior. So
straight up. Last thing. So Winning Time, they just dropped the second episode on Sunday. We were talking off air. I think it's fantastic. John C. Reilly is carrying it. Everybody, I don't know. There's a little bit of overacting and playing it up, but one of the biggest takeaways, I was checking it out on Twitter, was folks were kind of beating the show up about how the depiction of Jerry West was. Like, they make Jerry West seem like he's like about to go postal any minute. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even remember that he was supposed to be the coach the year that Magic got drafted.
Yeah.
That goes over people's heads, but I think the show is amazing, man. A lot of the castings, the Quincy Isaiah who plays Magic Johnson, that's a really close, like that's damn near like if you had to do a double take, right? In terms of the way Magic looked coming out of college. The guy that plays Kareem looks spot on, just like him. They haven't introduced Larry Bird's character yet, but I did see a couple snippets like from pictures that they took on set, and he looks like the old Larry Bird when he had the bowl haircut and the porn star mustache. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch that journey, and it's kind of the Last Dance effect, right? Where folks were kind of introduced to Jordan and the Bulls for the first time. Anybody that was born like in the 90s, right? Late 90s, that was their first time kind of being introduced to that journey. I think this is going to have the same type of effect, because all of us on the show right now, this was before us. Like, we weren't in there in the heyday of of Magic and Kareem. So this will really be my first time seeing, how everything came together with those original dynasties, right?
Yep. I can't wait to get to the end where Isaiah ends that dynasty.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. They talk about Isaiah on that Rick Fox hosts a podcast, a companion podcast to the show, and they talk about how Isaiah is gonna come as a character, and obviously, Mike is gonna be in there at some point. But it's been great. It's been really dope watching it. It's high energy. It doesn't even feel like it's an hour show. It feels like they need longer episodes. But
yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, man, make sure y'all tap into it. Winning Time on HBO. It's really dope. Let's talk football real quick, man. So a bunch of folks are on the move as everybody's kind of gearing up. Baseball is officially back in effect after they, came to an agreement. But Russell Wilson leaving Seattle, going to Cleveland. Going to Denver. Excuse me. Aaron Rodgers, it was cryptic about he wasn't staying. Then they said he signed the richest contract in history, and then he was said it was inaccurate, and then reports came out today that he is going to stay. But the biggest news over the weekend, I actually have a live video that I'm going to play. Tom Brady's officially coming back, and here's his statement. Here's what he had to say. Check it out.
I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on. This is my home. They're gonna need a fucking wrecking ball to take me out of here. They're gonna need to send in the National Guard or fucking SWAT team, because I ain't going nowhere.
You see what happens with being at home with your wife and kids for a month to do to you, to your psyche, man?
Hey, man, shout out to Tom Brady, man.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Is this insane, though? Like, what are you doing?
I knew it was happening.
You knew it was happening. How? What sense does this make? And then for him to think
Gronk, that's how I knew.
Is he coming back to Tampa as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's coming back now. But Gronk, my thing was I was going to pay attention to what Gronk was going to do, because we weren't going to hear it from Brady's camp early, but like Gronk would only ever play for Tom.
Wow.
And Gronk's a free agent, so like, yeah, they put the word out there that Gronk, quote unquote, said that his decision wasn't going to be based on Tom, this and that. And I mean, I don't know how many times over the years we've had to hear Gronk say he would only play for Brady. Like, I don't like. So I'm looking at Gronk the whole time, like, oh, he ain't retiring, huh? Brady probably coming back.
So there was
at some point.
There was some word that he was trying to, if he were to come back, the prospect would be trying to figure a move out to get him out to San Francisco for a 1 year.
Which is why I think why Gronk didn't resign, because he was holding off to see if Brady was going to get out or not.
Yeah. There was some weird energy from Bruce Arians when they lost against the Rams, as opposed to, just kind of giving Tom Brady his due. He was like, if he decides to come back, he's going to have to play here. So there might be some points of contention there. But Tom Brady's officially coming back. This is what, 23rd season?
Yep.
You don't think that has anything to do with Mike at all? No?
Nah, it'd be cool though.
Coming back for his 23rd season.
But I think there is something similar to Mike in terms of Brady got home and he couldn't turn the switch off.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. It's one of those things where, like, all right, I'm going to spend more time with my kids, and then you get home and you realize, like, damn.
He probably got home.
I'm not the star. I'm not the star of this show. Like, I'm the star of the show when I'm on the road, but when I come home, like, I'm an afterthought. Now, fuck this. I'm going back to work.
He got home. He probably was sitting there for about 2-3 weeks watching that Rams game.
You know what I really think it is, bro?
And his blood was boiling.
You know what I really think it is, and Justin? I think a lot of it had to do with Aaron Rodgers. One, getting that paycheck. I think it had a lot to do with the talk of post Brady, who's going to pick up the mantle and run with it, as if like he was never anything. I think that had a lot to do with it. I think the biggest thing was the Aaron Rodgers getting that big time paycheck. He basically held the league up for ransom all season with his antics, with the vaccination, this and that. With the cryptic messages going on Pat McAfee and everything with him and Matt LaFleur not being on the same page, the Devontae Adams stuff. But when he ended up doing all of that and still got paid major dollars, Tom Brady's like, oh fuck this, like it can't happen like that. So
yeah, and I mean, conference is weaker.
Yeah. Unfortunately, especially in that division. Who has a quarterback in that division now besides Tampa? Because before this, Tampa didn't have a quarterback.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Matt Ryan shot. Carolina has nobody. New Orleans has nobody to speak of. So,
and all three of those teams are chasing Deshaun.
Well, yeah, which is bringing me to my next topic. So, Deshaun Watson cleared of criminal charges. Obviously, his timeline, everyone's familiar with it. But now he's been granted permission to take meetings with teams. I thought that he was going. I was talking to folks at the ACC tourney all week, and I'm saying he's going to Pittsburgh, no doubt about it. And then they ended up going and getting Bruce's favorite quarterback of all time, Mitch Trubisky. So that's not an option. But a bunch of other teams are out there. Washington went ahead and made the trade for Carson Wentz, which opens up a spot in Indianapolis. You got New Orleans. You got Carolina, who's trying to get him. Seattle, obviously, after the Russell Wilson departure. Word around the campfire we were talking about earlier, Baker Mayfield put out this real cryptic message like, thanks for everything, Cleveland, you feel me? So he pretty much
Atlanta's thrown their hat in the mix. And
he's from Atlanta, right?
Yeah, he's from
Atlanta. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So Deshaun Watson back on the market. I do want to take a real quick pivot and hit the reverse button. So Russell Wilson went to Denver for Noah Fant and some picks, right?
Yep.
I was told that the Giants were in the mix for Russell Wilson, and they offered 2 firsts, 2 seconds, Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley, and the Seahawks said no.
Yeah. Their GM should be fired. John Schneider. That was horrible.
He should probably be working at Costco for the rest of his life after that. If that is the true story, that's what I was told. That was the situation.
Look, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Even if Saquon wasn't in that deal, I'm doing the deal. 2 firsts, and you get a transition quarterback to kind of bridge the gap.
Yeah,
and you get 2 seconds, bro. Come. Y'all could have sent me the ghost of Amani Toomer in those picks, and I would have took it.
No offense, not exactly Travis Kelce.
Nah, negatory Ghost Rider. So let me ask you fellas this question too. Should Jordan Love seek a trade? I mean, all jokes aside, because he's been in the league 4 years now. I think when Aaron was backing up Brett Favre, he had to sit 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers signing this new extension, Jordan Love is not gonna play. He's not gonna see the field, right?
Yeah. How many years is it? It's been 3 years, right?
Yeah. He's gonna go into his 4th season as a backup, and he's a first round pick.
And he'll hit free agency.
And with all of these quarterback, so I'm begging the question because with all of these quarterback openings, and there were even a handful more before this, like people were talking about whether or not Tua was going to be the full-time quarterback in Miami. Carson Wentz got traded to Washington where there was an opening. Pittsburgh because Ben retired. There's a ton of openings out there. If I were Jordan Love and I've been in the league 3 years now, you're officially a veteran, right? By paperwork standpoint, and you want to play, you're a first-round pick, you're getting paid first-round money. If I were him, I'd be asking to get out of there because I want to play, right? Kirk Cousins just signed an extension with Minnesota, but that could have been a job that he could have went in and tried to compete for, right? Kirk Cousins is not exactly sitting on solid ground with Minnesota. The Jets, like Zach Wilson, is not a all the way proven product. So
it's too soon for the Zach Wilson though, because it was just last year they took him number 2. So.
I agree, but
they're not gonna put him in the quarterback competition yet.
I agree,
maybe after this season.
You're talking Houston, right? That's another job.
The Lions could trade a 4th for him.
The Lions could trade a 4th for him, right?
I'm not giving up a 4th for Jordan Love. I've seen enough.
Dude, the Lions don't draft anybody worth a crap in the 4th round anyway.
Nah, for Jordan Love. Look, man, I would have traded a 4th for Mitch Trubisky before Jordan Love.
There are Jordan Loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, made the team.
I can't trade for him after we whooped them that bad.
I'm asking because there are Jordan Loves all over the league right now. But
yeah, true.
With those openings there, and some of those teams where there's gonna be a wide open quarterback battle in training camp, if you're sitting in a position where you were essentially promised that you were gonna play, and then Aaron Rodgers holds the team for ransom, and then he ends up coming back, it's like, man, I'm never gonna see the field. I'm never gonna play. So if you were him or a quarterback like him, would you sit another year, another 2 years behind Aaron Rodgers, or would you try to make moves and get out of there to compete for a starting job somewhere else?
Well, I think that's the problem right there. He'd be competing for a backup spot. Because you think about most of the teams in the league, they either have a franchise quarterback, they just drafted a quarterback recently within the last 2 years that they're still trying to run with and develop, or you're a team who doesn't have a quarterback, but you're on the cusp of being a contending team, so you're really not trying to go with a backup quarterback. You're trying to go find a starting quarterback. So, like, it's kind of just bad timing in terms of what the scope of the league looks like. Because, I mean, if you're the Colts, I'm not trading for Jordan Love. I'm a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender.
Let's look at it. Let's look at the landscape. Right? Seattle is wide open. You got Geno Smith is essentially their starter if they don't make any moves. Seattle's wide open, right?
There's no need to waste a draft pick if I'm rebuilding right now and I'm Seattle. I just got a bunch of draft picks in the trade anyways. I can just draft one.
Is Arizona on solid ground with Kyler Murray?
I'm not grabbing Jordan Love to put him in a competition with Kyler.
No. I was using Jordan Love as an example. I'm not saying Jordan Love's the end all be all. I'm saying if you're a backup QB somewhere, a fringe starter somewhere, and you're in a position where you're not going to necessarily upstage the backup. Like Mitch Trubisky was not going to upstage Josh Allen. That's why he went to Pittsburgh, right? He was a starter in the league. He wanted to start again.
Well, and that's the thing, too. Mr. Trubisky getting 2 years, $27 million tells you how bad the quarterback market is.
For sure.
Teams aren't even willing to go trade for some of these backup quarterbacks out there. But that's how bad the market is.
I agree. But I'm just saying for the sake of the conversation, like if I'm a backup quarterback in Dallas, there's no real like solid situation where Dak is going to be the quarterback long term for the Cowboys, especially if they switch coaches. Like that might be a situation as well. He might be on the move. Tua in Miami,
3 more years.
Indianapolis, Houston, Vegas. Right before this week, Denver was in a situation. So, it was just something fun I was thinking about. I wanted to post to you guys and see what you thought about it. The last thing on the NFL.
If it was Mr. Trubisky we were talking about, I would have gave it some thought, but not Jordan Love.
Crazy to think that Mr. Trubisky is the best backup quarterback in the league.
What we saw out of Jordan Love after 3 years, that's what we got. Whew.
He needs the reps, though, man. You need real reps. The last part of the NFL bams, Calvin Ridley obviously suspended for the entire season. The report was that he was betting in FanDuel Sportsbook while he was on the unable to perform list for the Atlanta Falcons. Said he bet somewhere around $1,500 in total. He wasn't on the team at the time. Conflicting arguments back and forth. But if I were Calvin Ridley and I'm suspended for the season, should I try to seek an endorsement from FanDuel or from DraftKings? Like as their sports person? Would you be like the Jake from State Farm for FanDuel? If I'm sitting out the season anyway?
And if they handing out Pat McAfee type bags, sure.
How tough is a situation like that? Like every other commercial for football is Caesars, DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBet.
I gotta watch JB Smoove or Jamie Foxx
and Halle Berry,
Halle Berry and Allen Iverson in another gambling commercial.
But they're rubbing it in your face, and obviously there's an ethics. I guess there's an ethics conversation here, but I mean, say Justin and I are cousins, and I'm in the NFL, and I can't bet the game. Can I have Justin bet for me?
That's what he should have did.
Yeah.
Right?
All right.
You'd never leave a paper trail heading back to yourself.
True.
He did it from his own phone. Like it's just like
FanDuel was the one that reached out and contacted the league and reported it.
Yeah, like from his own account. Like, bro, you gotta go through some. You gotta slide that money under the table to somebody else and let them do that for you.
Yeah, shell company, basically shell company situation.
Yeah, but I do think it's kind of. I think the punishment was too severe in the sense of he was betting on his team to win.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing. He was betting on his team to win. Like he wasn't doing nothing that would like be looked at as like throwing a game type stuff, right? Like he wasn't even playing.
Let me pose this question to y'all. How do you feel about betting on other teams as a player? Because schematically, like you have no control over the outcome of that game, right? You don't have any. You might have interest from a seeding standpoint, but I'm physically not at this game. I'm not playing in this game. I'm not playing against the teams that I'm betting on. The people that are the most powerful in regards to changing the dynamic of the games are quarterbacks and referees. So they should automatically be out, right? They dictate who scores. They dictate who gets balls, who gets carries. If I say, I don't know, who's the top running back? Nick Chubb. If I say that I'm Nick Chubb and I bet that he's going to get 130 yards on 15 carries this week, and Baker doesn't handle the ball, like that's flagrant. But if I'm Calvin Ridley and I can't, I guess, bet on myself to get catches because I can't throw myself the ball, should he be penalized for betting on other games where he has absolutely no control?
Yeah, I don't think he should have been penalized for that.
Because it's
honestly, even though he wasn't even playing on the Falcons games he bet on, so I don't think he should have been penalized for those either.
Exactly, bro. There's so on FanDuel, if you're in a certain region, you can't even bet on college games that are local. So like I'm in Chicago, I can't bet on Loyola, Illinois, Northwestern. I can't bet on any of those games because it's local. I can bet on other college games in other areas, but I can't bet on what I'm doing here. So
they have to open up sports gambling in Illinois?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
You didn't know that, dog? Okay. Dropping gems on the THP. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, if you have no control of it, I don't see what the harm is in it. But if you can dictate the outcome of the game, right? If you have OP over a game, then yeah, it's different. So I agree with you, bro. I think that the penalty was way too harsh. It was super excessive.
Yeah, and here's my thing too. We allow government officials to hold stock, which if you can't see the hypocrisy in that. But not only that, but sports betting has been going on behind the scenes in sports for years, whether it be with some illegal loan sharks or bookies, or just between players themselves. Exactly. So, and with the big push for sports betting and all of this stuff going on now, especially with like college kids, I get trying to keep them out of the mix. But with the professionals, the leagues need to set up like their own kind of like account type thing with these
Yeah.
companies. That way the players can bet and it's monitored by the league. That way you don't have to deal with the Calvin Ridley situation, and that way you can pay attention to that type of stuff and players can bet without having to worry of getting punished for something and it's been monitored to begin with.
I agree. Before we get too irresponsible for it, let's get out of this and get into the quick hits. I only got one. Brittney Griner. Her situation is still ongoing. She was in Russia playing for the Russian national team, supplemented income from the offseason of the WNBA. She got caught with vape that I guess had traces of hashish in it. And when the story broke, it was almost the common reaction was that it was just happening. Come to find out, she had been locked up for over a month now. And especially in the times that we're living in, obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock, you know what's going on. These are really scary times that we're living in, and for somebody to be essentially a hostage, right? She hadn't really been given quarter to speak with any ambassadors from the United States, and it's really tough when you got family, you got friends and loved ones and teammates that love and care about you, and you're not being able to get to them. And that's just John Q. Public. Brittney Griner is a superstar when it comes to international play. I wouldn't necessarily. She's an American star, but overseas in Russia, she is a superstar. They won 7 titles with her on that team, and now she's locked up for what might be seen in the United States as a petty offense. Have you guys been following the story at all? And if so, like, what's your outlook on what's going to happen with this?
There's 2 sides to the coin. Obviously, you pray for her safety and you pray that she's able to get back to the States, unharmed, unscathed, in a timely manner, because she's already been locked up for so long.
Yeah.
And you hate to see it happen. And on the flip side, she was trying to get through the airport, and I don't know. There's 3 things you don't take to an airport: weapons, drugs, and a ton of cash.
Right.
Those are the 3 big red flags. Right. So, she's not the first person we've seen get in trouble. I mean, we hear stories all the time about people from the Middle East. There was a story somebody in the Middle East got caught with a vape pen to a similar situation, and I think they got like 5 years in jail or 3 years. Like,
strong.
We are, people got to remember.
Yo, I got chills. Sheesh.
Yeah. God, so people got to remember we are a different country than 99% of the world, and
much more
everywhere else in the world. And this is not just talking to Brittney Griner, but to anybody else who out there who might be traveling. But everywhere else in the world don't look at weed and marijuana products the way we do.
Right.
And so if you're going to travel, know what you're getting yourself into legal-wise before you make that decision to do some stuff over there. Because once you're in another country, you playing by their rules. They house, they rule. So, she made him. I don't know. It could have been something she forgot to take out her bag, right? Like it could be anything. Yeah, so I'm not gonna cast judgment on her in terms of like making a stupid mistake or not, because she could have just honestly forgot to take it out her bag. So, hopefully she gets home safely. And then again, anybody future wise traveling overseas,
be smart.
Be careful, man, because you playing by another country rules, and America can't protect you overseas all the time, especially against one of our biggest political enemies. Like, it's just the timing of it couldn't have been worse because of what's going on right now. Like, she's in a really tough spot.
Justin, you think do you think the W could be doing anything more to kind of get her back?
Yeah, I don't know like what they could be doing, but somebody needs to, because she hasn't been seen, right? Either?
No.
They put up her mugshot last week, but we don't know how recent that is.
Right, we don't know how long ago that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like the last video of her was with the customs agent or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, and she hasn't talked to anybody. Like,
yeah, so that's scary, and with what's going on over there. You know, and they're not friendly towards Americans as it is.
Already, yeah, they're very contentious towards us. So,
yeah. You know, she's had some, you know, she's got some other things in her personal life that Russians don't like.
Yeah. That too. That's another mitigating factor. They're very
scary.
much contentious when it comes to LGBT plus.
It's kind of the triple whammy. She's got, you know, American, Black, you know, LGBTQ community. Like that's oh, help her, please.
Yeah, man. Free BG. Prayers and thoughts, hearts and minds over with her and her family. Hopefully we get her home soon and back to hooping, back to playing basketball. It's really unfortunate. This is a crazy situation. You're talking about a multiple-time Olympic gold medalist, multiple-time WNBA champion, 7-time Russian national team champion, and now we're talking about, you know, some real nasty shit. So free BG, man. I guess we can get into the rundown. I'm gonna get you bros out of here. I got a family size run for the playoff 12s. My first time getting them in a lifetime. Let's do it. MG, you get your hands on something this weekend, bro?
Nah, bruh. I missed out.
Justin,
I missed out, man.
Justin, I don't know if you're a sneakers guy. What's your guilty pleasure, man?
Well, I've always been a Nike guy or a Chucks. But yeah, I'm not a collector you guys are, though. Nah.
Okay, cool. Not much is popping this week. I don't know if you all saw the video of the Supreme Burberry collab. There people fighting in the street in New York. Somebody's car.
Yeah.
All type of crazy shit was going on.
I said, bro.
I stayed far away from that. But March 18th, at the end of the week, is going to be the launch for a lot of the Apple products from their spring meeting. The biggest get is the Apple iPhone 13 Pro. They're coming in a green colorway. As far as sneakers are concerned, you got the Air Jordan Retro 13 Del Sol. It's the yellow colorway for the 13. Full size run for the fam. That's coming out on the 19th. Also on the 19th, you got an Air Max 1 skunk colorway. They had one released over the weekend that was hard to get as well. We also got a Retro 4 Zen Master colorway. This one is based off of Phil Jackson. There's a full story that comes with it. Check it out on the sneakers app. March 21st, you got Adidas Yeezy 350 all white colorway for the summertime. March 22nd, you got a Jordan 6 Low Retro Atmosphere. That's also a full-size run for the fam. That's all I really got for this week before we see you all next week. But keep it locked. Make sure y'all tap into the Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com. We need to play some mailbag music. We need some keg pics. We need to see what your closet looking like. I need some gear so we can post it on the site, so we can post it on the Instagram. So make sure y'all tap in with us. Hitmen Podcast is the Instagram, at Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known. Yeah, man. All right, Justin, I teased it earlier. We're going to get off into the game show. You ready?
Put me on the spot. All right.
It's not going to be too crazy, bro. You're the master at this shit anyway. We're going boxing. All right? I know that's a safe space for you. So here we go. Multiple choice. Who is the only boxer to ever win a round without throwing a punch? You got Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, or Harry Greb.
Willie Pep. I knew it without the...
Damn, I didn't even get the music off, dog. We said Willie Pep out the gate. Willie Pep was known for his speed, finesse, and elusiveness. He's considered to be one of the best fighters of the 20th century. After Pep's 199th fight, his opponent, Kid Campeche, described the experience of fighting Pep as saying, fighting Willie Pep is like trying to stomp out a grass fire. It's hard to do. It's damn near impossible. So I told you, bro, you was worried about nothing. This is your, you feel me? This your wheelhouse.
That dude was constant motion, man. You couldn't touch him.
Yeah? One of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could see. We were talking about this off the air a couple days ago. That we wish we had more footage of him. There's really not a lot of full fight footage of him. You're basically just seeing rounds, like bits and pieces of fights. But yeah, man, there's like boxer definitely would have liked to have seen live or had any kind of black and white footage of like full fight footage would be great.
Yeah, they're starting to re-image a lot of fights from back in the day and put them in color. I don't know if not you, but I'm not sure if the rest of the world knows that. So a lot of the older fights are coming into full view because of the fact that they're putting them in 4K and reimagining them and putting them in color. So I'm looking forward to seeing, some of the greats. You hear about boxing's lore and history, but like you said, you never get to put the face to the history. So
it's got
just trying to become more of a historian all the way around,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love boxing history. It's like one of the deepest sports of tradition and history. Too bad the present day is not living up to that, but it is what it is.
Unfortunately. Let's get out of here with the shout out. So this part of the show is when you're giving shout outs or giving recognition to something or somebody that was inspiring and impactful during this week for you. So Justin, I'm gonna let you get off with it first. Who's your shout outs for the week? It could be family, friends, athletes, whoever. Who you shouting out?
Oh yeah, shout out to all the boys at the Blitz team, of course.
100.
You got I'm gonna give a shout out to. I'm happy for Matt Olson taking Freeman's spot in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That spot. Freddie Freeman was dragging his feet trying to re-sign Atlanta and lost his spot there. So I like Matt Olson a lot. I think they got the better of it. He's younger, better defender than Freddie Freeman. So
big slugger too. He had 31 homers last year.
Yeah, hitting that big ballpark in Oakland too. So yeah, I'm happy for Matt Olson, one of my favorite players in baseball.
Dope shout out. That's dope. MG, who you got, bro?
I always got to give a shout out to my local rappers up here in Detroit, man. So they keep me fed when it comes to music. So just Detroit rap in general. I'm gonna give a shout out to Puma this week too. I'm locked in on Puma. I'm locked in on LaMelo Ball shoes right now. So I'm trying to get my hands on as many of the different colorways as I can. And last but not least, always, just everybody out there. Just hope everybody's staying safe out here and staying out the way, being healthy, and doing what you got to do in these times.
Word, nice, good shout outs. So first, my shout outs. Ryan Coogler, if anybody that's not familiar with the footage that came out this past week, Ryan Coogler, director of Black Panther, director of Fruitvale Station, was trying to discreetly, I guess, withdraw some money from his bank. Ended up being, I guess, profiled by the police and handled it with grace, but he had, what looked like an anxiety attack because he was handcuffed in the back of this police car. Just real nasty work, real nasty video, but just shout out to him for holding his head and continuing to be a champion, a luminary in the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
it's crazy.
Yeah, so prayers up to him. Hopefully he can rise above it and put this past him. Shout out Greg Popovich. This past week he became the winningest coach in NBA history. Getting over 1,300 wins. It was bound to happen at some point. So shout out to Pop. Bismack Biyombo, a name that you won't hear that often on the show, but he said he's donating his entire NBA salary for this season. I believe it's somewhere around $3 million to his home country to build a new hospital overseas. So shout out to Bismack. And then I'm going to end the show the way I started the show, man. Big shout out to one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, was taken off life support. He passed away. I think he was 63 years old. And a lot of the culture, a lot of sports culture, we talking about gold chains and rings and just flash. You hear about Ric Flair, you hear about, a ton of that inspiration. But Razor Ramon was one of a kind, man. Scott Hall was when people say that they was outside, he was the original outsider. Party hard, kicked it hard, but was an amazing performer. When I grew up, Razor Ramon was one of my favorites, man. So it's crazy that your idols are you see him like from inception from a kid, and then you see him as a man, and you know they got a home going. So he survived by his wife and children. But I know we don't really get off into wrestling talk that much on the show, but I know you brothers have some history with wrestling. Razor Ramon was one of the greats, man. He was super dope. Like his character was based on Scarface. Like he was hard. I fuck with Sky hard, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about just the overall influence, man, with the way he dressed, the walk, the toothpick, like
Cheese Mo, the toothpick.
He was the man.
In those debut videos.
Yeah. You know, hey yo, you want to talk about NWO, whatever it may be.
Hell yeah.
He kicked off the NWO, not Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the innovator. He showed up out of nowhere. Nobody knew what was going on. It was history after that. So, gone too soon, man. Rest in peace to Scott Hall. We're going to get out of here, man. Rate, review, and subscribe. We everywhere that podcast live. Y'all already know the socials. Y'all already know where to tap in with us. The Hitmen Podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up on the YouTube. The videos in your phone right now. Brothers, good brothers. I appreciate y'all pulling up on me, man. Thank you so much, Justin. I hope this ain't the last time. I hope it ain't going to be too soon before I come back up.
No, it was fun being with you guys. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, straight up. And before we get out of here, man, I want y'all to remember, don't ever forget in your life, man.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to acknowledge it.
All right, it was a miracle. Can we go now?
That's episode 70. We gone. Holla.
Target center.